Hello students, welcome to the physics class of class 12. Our first topic is electric field due to a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Here in the diagram we see a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. The Gaussian surface to calculate the electric field at the point P is a cylinder. This P point is at a distance r from the surface. The charge density of the sheet is sigma. We consider a thin infinite plane sheet of charge with uniform charge density sigma. We wish to calculate its electric field at a point P at a distance r from it. By symmetry, electric field E points outwards normal to the sheet. Also, it must have same magnitude and opposite direction at 2 points P and P dash, equidistant from the sheet and on opposite sides. We choose cylindrical Gaussian surface of cross-section area A and length 2r with its axis normal to the sheet. As the lines of force are parallel to the curved surface of the cylinder, the flux through the curved surface is zero. The flux through the plane ends faces of the cylinder is phi e equal to Ea plus Ea equal to 2Ea. Here in the diagram we see a cylindrical Gaussian surface with flat circular ends. Electric field lines through this cylindrical surface is parallel, so electric flux through the cylindrical Gaussian surface will be zero, but through these circular ends there will be a value of electric flux which is equal to 2Ea. Now charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface Q equal to sigma into A. Here sigma is the surface charge density and A is the cross section area. According to Gauss's theorem, phi e equal to q by epsilon naught. Phi is 2Ea. So 2Ea equal to sigma A by epsilon naught. So E equal to sigma by twice epsilon naught is the electric field due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet at a distance r from the sheet. Next, electric field due to a uniformly charged thin spherical shell. Consider a thin spherical shell of charge of radius r with uniform surface charge density sigma. From symmetry, we see that the electric field E at any point is radial and has same magnitude at points equidistant from the center. To determine electric field at any point P at a distance r from O, we choose a concentric sphere of radius small r as the Gaussian surface. First is when the point P lies outside the spherical shell. Here in the diagram we see that this continuous curve represents the spherical shell which have surface charge density sigma and radius capital R. At the point P we have to calculate electric field which is at a distance small r from the center. Clearly this small r is greater than capital R, so we have considered a spherical Gaussian surface of radius small r. We see the electric field at any point is radially outward from the sphere. The total charge Q inside the Gaussian surface is the charge on the shell of radius capital R and area 4 pi capital R square. अतः Q equal to 4 pi R square into sigma. Flux through the Gaussian surface phi E equal to E into 4 pi R square. By Gauss's theorem, phi equal to Q by epsilon naught. So E into 4 pi small r square equal to Q by epsilon naught. By the mathematical calculation, we see electric field E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by small r square is the electric field due to a point outside the spherical shell. Next, when point P lies on the spherical shell, P point now lies on the spherical shell. So the spherical shell itself works as a Gaussian surface. The Gaussian surface just encloses the charged spherical shell. Applying Gauss's theorem, E into 4 pi capital R square equal to Q by epsilon naught. So electric field E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by capital R square when small r is equal to capital R. So if we put the value of Q like this, 4 pi R square into sigma, then the electric field will be E equal to sigma by epsilon naught. This is the electric field when the point P lies on the spherical shell. Next, when point P lies inside the spherical shell. In the diagram, we see the point P lies inside the spherical shell. Now, small r is less than capital R. So, we have considered a spherical Gaussian surface of radius small r which is inside the spherical shell. This sphere will act as a Gaussian surface. As the Gaussian surface inside the spherical shell, charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface is 0, that is Q equal to 0. In the diagram also we see this Gaussian surface is inside the spherical shell. We know total charge of a spherical shell lies on the surface here. So inside this Gaussian surface total charge is 0. Flux through the Gaussian surface phi E equal to E into 4 pi R square. Applying Gauss's theorem, phi E equal to Q by epsilon naught. E into 4 pi R square equal to 0 as Q is 0 here. So electric field inside the sphere is 0 for small r less than capital R. So we see that inside the spherical shell electric field is 0. Next, variation of electric field E with distance r from the center of a uniformly charged thin spherical shell. In the diagram, we see a rectangular two-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system. Along the horizontal axis, we have plotted distance from the center, that is small r. Here is we drawn the spherical shell with charge Q and sigma is the charge density. Along the vertical y-axis, we have plotted electric field E. We know inside the spherical shell electric field is 0 and at the surface the value of the electric field E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by capital R square. So this value is the electric field at the surface of the sphere, and if the distance increases more than the radius of the sphere, the variation of electric field is proportional to Q by small r square like this. So this graph indicates the variation of electric field from the center of a uniformly charged thin spherical shell. Next topic. Torque on a dipole in a uniform electric field. We consider an electric dipole consisting of charge plus q and minus q and of length 2a placed in a uniform electric field E, making an angle theta with it. It has a dipole moment of magnitude P equal to Q into 2a. Here in the diagram we see electric field from left to right direction. We consider a dipole here of charge plus q and minus q which is of length 2a, making an angle theta with the direction of electric field. Now, force on charge plus q due to electric field E is plus q into E, and force on charge minus q due to E electric field is minus q into E. So the total force equal to plus q into E minus q into E equal to 0, as these two forces are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, that's why this minus symbol is here. So total force on the dipole is 0. So the net translating force on a dipole in a uniform electric field is 0. But the two equal and opposite forces act at different point of the dipole. They form a couple which exerts a torque. Here in the diagram we see the force on charge plus q is plus q into E, and the force on charge minus q is minus q into E. These two forces are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, and they act on different points of a dipole separated by a fixed distance to a sine theta. So they will produce a torque on the dipole. Torque equal to either force into perpendicular distance between the force. Tau equal to q into E into 2a sine theta. Tau represents the torque. Either force magnitude is q into E, and perpendicular distance between the force is 2a sin theta. As we see in the diagram, the perpendicular distance between these two forces is 2a sin theta. So we can write q into 2a E sin theta or p E sin theta. As we know, p equal to q into 2a. So in vector notation, tau vector equal to p vector cross E vector. So cross product of dipole moment and electric field gives the torque. If theta equal to 90 degree, then sine 90 degree equal to 1. So torque tau is maximum. The maximum value of torque tau is equal to Pe. If theta equal to 0 degree, sine 0 degree equal to 0. So torque is 0.